The movie opens with a man named Heller trying to fix his broken airplane. His wife, Sarah, comes outside and asks him to come in. Inside, Heller makes her a cup of coffee, and Sarah explains that she has to travel to London for 5 days because of work. Heller isn't thrilled about it, but he still walks her to the car and says goodbye. After she leaves, Heller heads to his job. He works as an analyst at a CIA branch. While at work, he chats with a colleague nicknamed the Bear. During their conversation, the Bear asks Heller for help fixing his computer, and Heller agrees. It's revealed that Heller is incredibly smart, with an IQ of 170. Later, Heller goes into his own office and starts going through some files. While working, he gets a message from an online contact named Inkaline. The message contains classified government information. As Heller reads through it, he starts noticing strange details. Sarah calls him during this, and after a quick conversation, he returns to the files. When he opens them fully, he discovers something shocking. Heller discovers that his own government authorized drone strikes against allied nations. He also learns that Director Moore and a man named Caleb are responsible for the attacks. Alarmed, Heller quickly leaves the office. That night, he tries calling his wife Sarah, but she doesn't pick up. The following morning at work, Moore shows up at Heller's office and brings him to meet with Director O'Brien. She delivers devastating news. Sarah was killed in an attack. Moore shows him a news report and explains the situation. Crushed by the news, Heller returns home, struggling to accept that Sarah is really gone. The next morning, Heller meets with Moore and Caleb to talk about the incident, asking what steps they plan to take. Moore reassures him that everything is under control and that he doesn't need to worry. A few days later, Sarah's body and personal belongings are brought back through the airport. At home, Heller sifts through her things and breaks down in tears. In the days that follow, Heller keeps investigating the attack, carefully reviewing every detail and reporting his findings to Moore and Caleb. It turns out that the attackers were a group of 4 individuals. During a confrontation with the security team, one of them ended up killing a guard. This caused panic among the others, leading them to hastily grab hostages from the airport waiting area, and one of those hostages was Sarah. The person who captured Sarah was named Mishka Blajic, and another was named Elish. While attempting their escape, they killed Sarah. Later, the attackers provided the name of a dealer called Frank. However, when Heller shares this information with Moore and Caleb, they don't seem surprised at all. That's when Heller realizes they already knew the full story about the attack. When he confronts them, Moore admits that their true mission is to dismantle the entire organization. Moore then instructs Heller to attend a therapy session. During the session, Heller vents to the therapist, revealing his confusion and frustration that the government isn't taking any action. It's then that he decides he'll have to take matters into his own hands. A few days later, Heller secretly plants a bug inside his ID badge and sneaks back into the office. Heller prints out classified documents that expose everything Moore and Caleb have been involved in. Later, he goes to a bar and spots a CD jukebox, which gives him an idea. The next morning, Heller uses the printed documents to blackmail Moore and Caleb. He warns them that he has backup copies of all the evidence and that if anything happens to him, the information will be leaked to the media. He also demands to personally hunt down the people responsible for Sarah's death and asks to be trained for the mission. Realizing they're cornered, Moore agrees and assigns a man named Henderson to train him. During the training sessions, Heller struggles. He's unable to even hit a target with a gun, but he has a natural talent for building explosives and improvised weapons. Henderson also prepares fake passports for him. While working together, Henderson notes that even at close range, Heller seems unable to pull the trigger. Meanwhile, back at the CIA office, Caleb starts growing suspicious. Caleb starts digging into Heller's records and searches everywhere for the backup files, even going through Heller's house, but comes up empty-handed. Eventually, they realize Heller has been visiting a particular bar multiple times. Suspecting that the backup files might be hidden there, they rush to check it out and find the CD jukebox. However, when they open it up, they discover that Heller had been bluffing. There's nothing inside. Growing nervous, they contact Henderson and order him to retrieve Heller immediately. But when Henderson heads to Heller's room at the training facility, he finds it empty. Heller has already vanished, taking the fake passports with him. Using one of the fake identities, Heller travels to London. Once there, he begins tracking a dealer named Gretchen Frank. He even breaks into her home, searching for evidence. When Gretchen returns, Heller tries to aim a gun at her, but once again, he can't bring himself to pull the trigger. Thinking quickly, he devises another plan. While Gretchen is hospitalized for treatment, Heller sneaks into her hospital room and poisons her oxygen supply. Gretchen wakes up, manages to escape the hospital chamber, and even fights Heller before fleeing into the street. There, she's struck by a passing car and killed instantly. Heller grabs her phone and quickly leaves the scene. Without wasting time, he collects his belongings and heads to France. One evening at a bar, he notices someone tailing him. It's Henderson. Heller tries to flee, but Henderson catches up to him. Heller creates a distraction and strikes up a conversation with Henderson. Henderson tells him that no matter what he does, he can't undo the past. While they talk, Heller uses the opportunity to slip away unnoticed. The following morning, Heller contacts his anonymous online ally, asking for assistance. After that, he boards a flight to Istanbul, where he finally meets his online friend, Inquiline, in person. Together, they head to her safe house and begin tracking down the people responsible for the attacks. Meanwhile, back at the CIA, Director O'Brien starts becoming suspicious that Moore is hiding something from her. When she confronts him, Moore denies any wrongdoing and insists he's fully loyal to her. As Moore leaves her office, Director O'Brien realizes he was the one who assigned Henderson to train Heller, and she quietly launches an investigation into him. Meanwhile, back at the safe house, Heller and Inquiline track one of Sarah's killers to Madrid. Heller travels there and learns that the target frequently swims alone in a sky pool, a glass-bottomed pool suspended high above the ground. Heller designs a device capable of shattering the glass. The following day, he confronts the killer at the pool and demands the name of the second person involved in Sarah's death. When the killer refuses to cooperate, Heller activates the device. The glass shatters, and the killer plunges to his death along with the falling water. At the same time, Inquiline discovers that Henderson is on Heller's trail and urgently warns him. Heller makes a run for it, but just as Henderson is about to catch him, another CIA agent, secretly sent by Director O'Brien, intervenes.
A brutal fight breaks out between Henderson and the agent.
Eventually, backup arrives, and other CIA operatives open fire, killing Henderson. Heller wants to go back and help Henderson, but Inquiline stops him, urging him to keep moving. Meanwhile, at CIA headquarters, Director O'Brien questions Moore about Heller's whereabouts. Moore lies, claiming he has no idea, and quickly leaves. Later, O'Brien reviews surveillance footage from Madrid and notices something that suggests Inquiline might be working with Heller. The CIA begins tracking her movements and discovers that she's currently in Istanbul. They contact the local embassy to prepare a response. That night, while Heller and Inquiline are asleep, CIA agents surround their safe house. Awakened by the commotion, they flee and jump into a car to make their escape. During the chase, a bullet strikes Inquiline, killing her instantly. Heller moves into the driver's seat and races to safety. Before leaving, he pauses to kiss her goodbye. A few days later, Heller receives a message through one of Frank's old contacts about an upcoming arms deal. He agrees to supply weapons and also uploads his facial data into specialized software that can disguise other people to look like him. Unaware of it, Heller's trick causes the CIA to believe he's now in Berlin, and they deploy agents there to track him down. Meanwhile, Heller sets a trap for one of the assassins. He rigs a bomb that will detonate if the target tries to move away from it. When the killer steps into the trap, Heller interrogates him and learns that their leader is always based on a ship. After getting the information, Heller takes the killer's phone and walks away. Unfortunately, the assassin moves and triggers the bomb, killing himself. Around the same time, the CIA figures out they've been chasing the wrong person and calls off the Berlin operation. Heller makes his way to a port by the Baltic Sea, where he begins observing illegal transactions taking place around a large ship. While monitoring the activity, he unexpectedly runs into the bear, his old co-worker, who is also now on the run. They catch up briefly, and Bear tells Heller that he knows everything he's done, and that he's willing to help him no matter what. A few days later, Heller stakes out another arms deal from a distance. The dealers catch sight of Heller, knock him out, and bring him to their boss, a man named Slater. That night, Heller is taken onto Slater's ship for a face-to-face meeting. On board, Heller confronts Slater about his illegal dealings with Moore and Caleb. Slater mocks him, claiming that Heller isn't a killer, that he doesn't have it in him to pull the trigger. To test him, Slater hands Heller a loaded gun and dares him to shoot. Heller points the weapon but ultimately can't bring himself to fire. Suddenly, the ship begins to change course on its own. Slater panics and rushes to regain control, but Heller calmly explains that he hacked the ship systems. It's now steering into Finnish waters, and Heller has already tipped off Interpol and the Finnish Navy. Soon after, Slater and his crew are captured and arrested. In the aftermath, Moore and Caleb are also arrested for their crimes. Heller finally secures justice for Sarah and finds a sense of closure. In the final scene, Heller unexpectedly crosses paths with Henderson, who is revealed to have survived after all. Heller then takes one final flight in the small plane that Sarah had given him, feeling connected to her once again.